What's good, YouTube? I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. We talk about fragrances on this channel. Everything fragrance related, man. That's what we get into on this channel primarily, but I also throw in some grooming tips as well. And I like to throw in some style tips. I have one for you today, by the way. But if you're interested in looking good and smelling great, make sure that you hit subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications by hitting the bell icon as well. So that way, anytime a new video is uploaded, you will get notified. All right, guys, so the weather is starting to warm up in certain regions of the country. And when the weather starts to change, if you are a guy like me, where oftentimes you are wearing a suit, it is very important to notate a few things about suits and the hot weather. Believe it or not, there was a point in time in my life when I did not know this as well, but as it pertains to suits, the weight of your fabric in your suit determines what season it is appropriate for. Like the suit I'm wearing today is what we call an all-season suit. So this suit is the proper weight where, regardless of whether it's cold outside or if it's hot or warm, this suit is appropriate to wear year-round. If you're a person that's just starting out and you only have 1 to 2 suits, maybe 3 in your wardrobe, it's probably good to go with just a suit that you can wear any time of the year. In the fall and winter, you can opt for heavier fabrics, heavier wool fabrics. Wearing fabrics like houndstooth and tweed during the fall and winter to help to keep you warm. But when it's actually getting hot outside, you want to wear fabrics that are cooler. So fabrics like there's a fresco fabric, linen, hopsack, different fabrics where you can still look stylish and wear a suit, but it's going to allow you to be cooler when you go outside. So that's a tip for today, style tip of the day. If you're a person like me that wears suits, make sure that you're paying attention to the weight of your fabric and the type of fabric, because a lot of them are seasonal appropriate. And just a little style check today, guys. I am rocking everything is Tom Ford today. Tom Ford shirt, Tom Ford tie, pocket square, and the suit. One of my favorite designers. Can't afford a whole lot of this stuff, but the things that I do have, I do value. I think I want to do a video one day when I kind of go through all of my Tom Ford stuff. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comment section. But anyway, today, guys, we're going to be talking about a fragrance collection in my, of course, arsenal that I am very, very proud to have. And I'm talking about the Roja Parfums Haute Luxe collection. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit later, but the Haute Luxe collection has now changed to the Prestige collection. Not really focusing on that. I'll talk a little bit about that during this video, but the original Haute Luxe collection from Roja Parfums, I think it consisted of 5 fragrances in total. Now they've added one, and now that it's changed to the Prestige collection, they're changing it, but I'll get into that later. But I want to talk about the primary fragrances that were a part of that collection. So very proud to have this in my collection personally. So I just want to share it with you guys and just share, you know, my passion for it and the whole nine. So anyway, I'm going to run the intro, and when we come back, we're going to get into it. If you want to hear my thoughts on 5 fragrances from the Haute Luxe collection of Roja Parfums, then you guys know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Let's get it.
The BowTie Fragrance Guy.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to jump into this video really quickly. Friendly reminder, it's always going to be linked in the video description, man. My ebook, The Gentleman's Blueprint, is still available and will be available. If for some reason you haven't picked up your copy yet, do yourself a favor and pick it up. A lot of great information for helping you improve your overall mindset and understanding of what it is to be a modern day gentleman, and the importance of being a modern day gentleman in today's society. If it's $9.99, I always have a link down below. So make sure you support me, support the channel, and pick up your copy of The Gentleman's Blueprint. Now let's get to this very prestigious, it's funny how I use that word, collection from Roja Parfums, the Haute Luxe collection. Now, this is a very special collection. I'm pretty sure not only to those that have collected fragrances from this collection, but also for the perfumer, the owner of the brand himself, Mr. Roja Parfums. All of the fragrances in this particular collection kind of tell a very personal story that Roja Parfums, that Mr. Roja experienced in his lifetime. So I want to kind of go through the fragrances. They're not particularly in any order, but I am going to start with the most recent acquisition, which is the latest fragrance that was added to this collection. And that is a fragrance called Lost in Paris, which is a beautiful gourmand fragrance. Now, I want to note as well, the brand has undergone some changes here over the past maybe 2 years or so. Packaging has started to change a little bit. I spoke about this a little bit on the videos that I've done that have included fragrances from the brand, telling you guys how they no longer have Roja Parfums on the side of the fragrances. Actually, they've even started to remove the Roja signature from around the cap of some of these fragrances as well. And also packaging. For instance, with this particular collection, so this is the box for Lost in Paris. So it has the name of the fragrance there, made in England on the back of the fragrance on the box. I don't know if the camera will pick that up. Yep, so it says made in England there on the box. Now, even these boxes that they come in have changed a little bit. And one thing of note, on the top of the box now, it just has a R instead of the full Roja signature. So let me show you. Again, this is the box. All of them from this collection come in a very nice, heavy lacquered box in the white hue. And again, now this is the one for Lost in Paris. It has just the R signature down here at the bottom. Whereas they used to have the complete Roja signature there on the bottom. So they've started to undergo some changes. Again, I'm not going to speculate why. I have heard some people say they think it's, Roja is cutting costs, trying to be a little bit more mainstream and the whole nine. I cannot confirm nor deny any of those things, but I have noticed there are started to be some changes in packaging and things of that nature, taking away and not adding. So there could be some relevance to that. But again, I'm not confirming or denying it. I'm just telling you what I've heard. So the fragrance Lost in Paris is a gourmand fragrance. And of course, it is the first gourmand and only gourmand in this particular collection. All the fragrances in this collection, again, the Haute Luxe collection, which is now called the Prestige collection, comes with a violet colored cap, which is his favorite color. All right, so this fragrance Lost in Paris, as again, this is the bottle, the most recent acquisition in the latest release to the Haute Luxe, or now called Prestige collection from Roja Parfums, has the beautiful crystal jeweled violet colored cap. And of course it says Lost in Paris. As you can see, there is no Roja Parfums writing on the side of the bottles. Again, that's something that has changed here with the more recent releases or the more recent batches of these fragrances. But this is Lost in Paris. Some of the main notes you're going to get in this beautiful fragrance is blood orange, bitter orange, rum, caramelized sugar, butter. You get some caramel, a little bit of ambergris in here as well. And this is so good. I have won the fragrance, and again, you guys know that I love gourmands. Now, this fragrance was made, and the story behind this one is, and a kind of a abbreviated story, is he was in Paris. He had been out, and he said he was roaming through the streets of Paris late, was kind of hungry, smelled this beautiful, beautiful aroma of crepes. I think that's how you pronounce that, in the air. Now, I went into this restaurant or this bakery or whatever the case may be, and enjoyed that particular dessert. And again, I think it's called Crepes Suzette is the actual dessert that this fragrance is kind of made to smell like. So that particular dessert is one, crepes are like the best way to describe it because I've never actually had them. But in researching this, it's almost like a pancake of some kinds, a little bit thinner than a pancake, but it's like a pancake is folded. And this particular crepe Suzette actually is a crepe with caramelized sugar on it, butter, and it is actually kind of marinated in orange juice, all right, in orange juice. And so that's really what you get with this fragrance. I mean, you really can't describe what the fragrance smells like. There needs to be no additional, I would say, explanation of what the fragrance smells like than telling you exactly what it was made to kind of resemble, because that's exactly what he was able to pull off with this fragrance. Again, I do love the bottles, all the bottles in this collection. I love that beautiful, that violet color is just absolutely gorgeous on all these fragrances. And again, you're going to get it on all of them, right? That is going to be kind of the hallmark of a fragrance from this collection. All right, so when the fragrance opens up, man, you get this beautiful melange of, like I said, orange, bitter orange. When it starts to dry down, it just turns into this beautiful gourmand. The crepe, so you get this buttery bread. I think there's orris butter in here. So the orris butter, a little bit of a saltiness from ambergris kind of help to contribute to that kind of baked bread kind of smell. Now, this does not smell anything like sweetie oud or sweetie oud. This is his own thing, but I remember making bread in my home economics class in high school. And I remember we always had to put a pinch of salt when making the dough. So that's why I think the ambergris kind of comes into play here, because you have this really bread-like smell in this as well, with a little pinch of salt. And I think, of course, that's where the ambergris comes in. But like I said, there's caramel in here. There's a caramelized sugar accord. And again, I think there's a Grand Marnier accord in here as well, because the actual dessert is flambéed in like an orange liqueur as well. So that's where you kind of get the Grand Marnier, or that slight boozy Grand Marnier, orange Grand Marnier thing in here as well. But this fragrance, I think it knocks it out of the park. I have never had a crepe Suzette before, but for reading the notes and reading the ingredients in it, you smell all of that in Lost in Paris. So if you are a gourmand lover, I think you will love this fragrance. It retails for $12.95. And I want to say this ahead of time. I bought every single last one of these fragrances myself. And I bought this one actually full retail. It's one that I couldn't really find anywhere on discounters. I always would love to get it at a discounted price, which I did with the others. But this one I had to pay full retail. So $12.95 is the price for this one. But if you love gourmands, and again, go read about what a crepe Suzette is. That's exactly what this is in a bottle. The newest one to the collection, the Haute Luxe collection. This one is called Lost in Paris. All right, guys, a really quick side note. I talked to you, I've mentioned a few times already in the video. The collection is now called the Prestige Collection, and I don't know how I feel about it. I like original stuff. So like when I think about the Haute Luxe collection, I'm thinking about the original ones, which one you cannot get anymore, Majestic Oud, which was a part of this collection as well. But I think about those original fragrances and Lost in Paris. They have since started to add, change the Parfums de la Nuit line, take it from 3 fragrances to 1. So that is now in the Prestige collection in a similar bottle. And they have also taken, I want to say, Diaghilev, and added it to this collection as well in a similar bottle. So those now have the violet crystal colored caps, along with these fragrances called the Prestige collection. But I'm not focusing on that. I'm talking about the Haute Luxe collection. So this next one is Great Britain. Great Britain. Phenomenal leather Chypre fragrance. That's what this is. Rose, violet, patchouli, oak moss, leather, ambergris. My gosh. This is so good. I don't want to, when you talk about notes and stuff like that, as much as you try to describe it, I like to try to keep things kind of simple. This smells like a Chypre with a huge dose of leather. That's the best way for me to describe this fragrance. Now, I want you guys to pay attention to the color of this juice. All right? Pay attention to the color of this juice, because this particular fragrance, I think, is one of the later batches that came out. If you can find a bottle of Great Britain from like when it was first released, it's like it's a darker brown, so it's a different hue than this one. I think there was even more of a kind of animalic leather. I would assume there may have been some castoreum in that one, because castoreum is a more animalic note that kind of gives, smells like leather. And a lot of times when perfumers want to give a more pronounced note of leather, they will use a note like castoreum in there. This doesn't have that. It just lists leather as a note. But you do get the leather in the opening. I don't think the leather is as prominent as it was when this fragrance first came out. This one used to retail for the same thing as the rest of the fragrance, a lot of the other fragrances from this collection, for about that a $1,600 price point, $1,700. Now they sell it as a part of the Prestige collection for $1,100, so it's more accessible. And again, the bottles now don't have Roja Parfums down the side. This one still does have the signature on the cap, which I don't know if they're gonna take that away on any of the fragrances on this more expensive collection, but you can still see they have it here. But this is a phenomenal Chypre wrapped in leather. Like I said, some lab denim on the dry now, some ambrette to give a little bit of a musky nuance, but this is a phenomenal Chypre with leather. This one was made, or he made this one because he was asked to make a fragrance that represented his country where he's from, Great Britain. And that's what this is. And if you kind of read the blurb on this one, he talks about how the leather in here represents a very stately home in Great Britain. You have the doors open, or the windows open, I'm sorry, in the springtime, and you get these all beautiful florals in the whole nine that's kind of filling the aroma of the room. And the old kind of aged vintage furniture is where you get the leather and all that kind of stuff from. But it is a fantastic fragrance. And I highly recommend, if you like leather, that you get at least a sample of this one. This is called Great Britain. All right, guys, the next fragrance in the collection, I've actually mentioned this one. Very personal story. Like I said, all of these for him have a very personal story behind them. And the next one is called A Goodnight Kiss. A Goodnight Kiss. Beautiful bottle. This is the lightest color juice in the entire collection, but this is some of the main notes in A Goodnight Kiss. Is going to be carnation. You're going to get some violet, some orris, and then there's rice powder, accord, and aldehydes. This is so good. Oh, jeez. The story on this one, A Goodnight Kiss, is his mother was going out one night. She came in to give him a kiss goodnight on her way out. So in this, he tries to replicate that smell of rice powder, which is a powder, a foundational powder that a lot of women wore or wear on their face, makeup. And so you get that powdery nuance here. Again, violet, of course, is powdery. I'm pretty sure that, and a few other notes played a role in the rice powder kind of accord that he kind of tried to create, or did create, I would say, with this fragrance. Again, very bright, floral and powdery fragrance is the best way for me to describe the accords in here. And he knocked it out of the park. He knocked it out of the park. He did, in the videos, he does talk about how difficult it was to kind of recreate that rice powder accord, but I think he knocked that out of the park. Mission was accomplished with that. But a beautiful fragrance. This is one that I think a lot of guys are going to dismiss, but to me, this kind of falls in the category of Pico Valladama from Xerjoff, which is one that I love, that has a floral, powdery, aldehydic kind of fragrance, and a few other from some of the more exclusive lines of Chanel. This is kind of what this reminds me of, honestly. If this were bottled in an exclusive Chanel collection fragrance, I could kind of see that, because those are the vibes that it gives off. But this is one that retails for $1,600. It is still currently listed at that price, but it is phenomenal. Third fragrance in the Haute Luxe collection. This is a Goodnight Kiss. And of course, the big daddy of them all, I did a video on this one. This is called Roja Haute Luxe, which it is now affectionately known as. Look at those real gold flakes in the fragrance. This one retails for $3,500. This is a Chypre wrapped in cashmere. That is how he describes this fragrance. This one was very personal for Roja because this is his actual signature scent. When he first made it, he said he had his own signature scent that he wore for quite some time, and then that fragrance was reformulated, and so he had to start making something for himself because he wasn't happy with whatever his signature scent was, which from what I heard might have been a fragrance from Guerlain called Metsuko. Now, Roja used to work for Guerlain, so it's quite possible that, you know, Metsuko could have been his signature scent, which is a Chypre in its own. Now, so this signature fragrance, Roja, affectionately known as Haute Luxe, is as he describes it, a Chypre that is wrapped in cashmere. Guys, I've actually worn this a few times. This is a fragrance that's gotten me a lot of compliments when I've worn it. Not saying that that's what this is about, but it is a very regal, elegant, and sophisticated fragrance. Again, it is a high price point. I get it. Not even getting into that because it does retail for $3,500. I found mine at Joma Shop. You know, so pretty nice discount on that fragrance. I don't know if I could have ever brought myself to pay $3,500 for it, but this is a beautiful fragrance, man. Again, real gold flakes in here. But that's not what really gives the fragrance its price point. It is the quality of the ingredients that is used in this fragrance. But then you get some rose, jasmine, some orris. It's a Chypre with oak moss, leather, ambergris, and some powdery sweetness from vanilla and benzoin on the dry down. Some of the main notes, rose de grasse in here as well. Jasmine de grasse and rose de mine are some notes in here as well. It's just a beautiful fragrance. It's a beautiful Chypre fragrance with a powdery orris contrasted by ambergris and this kind of slightly sweet vanilla benzoin dry down and powdery orris sandwiched in between there. That's what this fragrance is. It is phenomenal. There's a huge dose of labdanum in here as well. So the labdanum, benzoin, and vanilla kind of create an amber kind of nuance with it as well. But the amber is well balanced by the very, very powdery orris that you get in here. And again, and that kind of salty note of ambergris. I'm not going to talk about value. I just say this. I love this fragrance. I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad this is in my collection. So the fourth fragrance in the Haute Luxe collection is Haute Luxe, AKA Roja. And last but not least, guys, the last fragrance is called Chypre Extraordinaire. Now notice, this one still has Roja Parfums down the side. So this is one of the earlier batches of this. I want to say it was released in 2018. This fragrance is beast mode. Beast mode, tuberose, aldehydes. You have some peach, plum, cloves, amber. Some of the main notes in this fragrance, but really to sum this fragrance up, it is a Chypre with tuberose. And you can hear when he kind of talks about this fragrance, it is a Chypre fragrance, a classic Chypre with the note of tuberose, which is a note that you typically don't find in Chypre. Chypre is a very masculine scent profile traditionally, and it had a very floral fragrance note that is more traditionally used, of course, in women's fragrances, which is the irony of all this. And of course, in tremendous Roja fashion, he made it work. This thing is a beast mode. As a matter of fact, this one still retails for $1,600 as well. Well, this version retails for $1,600. The new version does not have Roja Parfums down the side. And just like a few others in the collection, you can now get it for $1,100. But this is one of the older batches, and this stuff is absolutely fantastic. Again, beast mode. As a matter of fact, all of these, there's nothing here that doesn't give me at least 8 to 9 hours, at least. A few of them go way past that, but at least 8 to 9 hours is a very expensive collection, but it is one that I am happy to have in my possession. Guys, that's all I have. Have you had a chance to experience anything from the Roja Parfums Haute Luxe collection? If you have, drop some comments down below, man. Let's dialogue and converse about it. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section. Now, as always, I sincerely appreciate you guys' time and your attention to these videos. You don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you're sharing these out to some other folks that you think could use the information or find it entertaining. Because I'm the guy, Darren, I'm the BowTie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, you got it. I love to smell fantastic. So until next time, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.